We're continuing our trip down cinematic memory lane with the 1972 sci-fi film Silent Running, directed by Douglas Trumbull and starring Bruce Dern, Cliff Potts, Jesse Vint and Ron Rifkin. This film continues the 70s theme of environmentalism, which we have also seen in films like Logan's Run and Soylent Green. So this film was very much a product of the era. The Earth of the future described in this film could be called post-apocalyptic. All plant life, including grass and trees, are now completely extinct on planet Earth. The natural environment, as we know it, has been completely destroyed. We don't get any description of what the world is actually like now, or how people are even breathing oxygen there, or how life is even being supported. But one would imagine Earth is barren, desolate, and pretty awful. Civilization continues, however. The planet is still populated. The last remaining vestiges of nature, including much of the wildlife, is now housed in large biodomes, which are connected to spacecraft run by American Airlines space freighters. Each dome contains a forest full of plants and trees and animal life. The primary ship in the fleet is the Valley Forge. The freighters are flying around Saturn on their way back to Earth. The main character, played by Bruce Dern, is Freeman Lowell. He's a botanist with a passion for his work and a love of nature. He's also very much an idealist. He believes in a genuinely brighter and more aspirational future for mankind. His colleagues, on the other hand, don't really care. They are entirely practical people. To them, their work on these freighters is just exactly that, work. To Lowell, they're hauling precious cargo, the last remains of Earth's beauty. But his colleagues laugh this off as idealism. They think only in practical terms. They've been ordered to jettison and destroy their biodomes, including the one attached to the Valley Forge. This would obviously also destroy the forests, the last vestiges of nature in all of the galaxy. So the crew are ordered home, and all but Lowell are thrilled about this. He cannot believe that this is the decision that's been reached. The future that mankind lives in is a cold, sterile, and artificial one, and it appears that, like the world depicted in Soylent Green, most people appear to have gotten used to this. He argues with them about the processed synthetic food they eat, unhealthy and unnatural, while he eats fresh food grown in his own garden. To Lowell, the food he eats is a reminder of the Earth the way it was, the way it should be. Green grass, clean air, and blue skies. He laments now how on Earth everywhere is 75 degrees. Everywhere is the same. All the people are the same. He wants to go back to Earth to change it. Cliff Potts' character Keenan says to him that things on Earth aren't so bad. There's no poverty, disease, and everyone has a job. Lowell responds saying that there is no more beauty, imagination, or frontiers left to conquer because nobody cares anymore. Lowell is certainly passionate about what he believes, if slightly bordering on the eccentric, but what right-minded person could blame him? In truth, he is the only one who cares about anything other than self-interest. He wants to save Earth, his homeworld. He wants to repair the damage that was done to it, and he wants to save endangered animal and plant life. How could anyone not care about these things? If humanity is no longer even remotely connected to its natural environment, its origin, then something of what makes us human, organic, and natural has surely been lost. In some respects, I would argue that Lowell is one of the last true human beings left because he hasn't lost touch with the wonder of life and nature. He's the only one willing to fight for his planet and for the soon-to-be extinct species of life within those domes. So when Keenan comes to set the explosives in his garden, I could hardly blame him for using whatever force was necessary to try to preserve the forest. Unfortunately, Lowell takes things too far, and rather than incapacitating Keenan, he murders him. It's at this point that Lowell's nature takes a dark turn. Now, I'm not saying he becomes an outright madman or anything. At the end of the day, he's driven by a love of nature to preserve something truly irreplaceable and precious. He's simply in an almost impossible situation. Either fight to save the forests at all costs, or they're lost forever. He then jettisons the dome that had his other colleagues aboard, Wolf, played by Jesse Vint, and Barker, played by Ron Rifkin, and their dome blows up. So Lowell is now left alone on the Valley Forge with only some robots to keep him company. And he renames them Huey, Louie, and Dewey. He teaches them how to play poker and how to look after the forests and plant trees. The second half of the film then becomes more intimate, personal, and character-driven for Lowell. And I think it's a testament to how well the character is written for and how good Bruce Dern is in the role that you find yourself still rooting for Lowell and having sympathy for him despite what he has done to his colleagues. When the Berkshire eventually makes contact with the Valley Forge again, he realizes that he will have to protect the forest before they arrive and that they will soon discover what he has done. So he takes one of the damaged robots with him aboard the Valley Forge, then jettisons the dome to safety into space with one of the robots left to tend the forests. He destroys the Valley Forge using explosives, obviously killing himself and the robot. The final scene is of the one remaining dome floating through space with a robot maintaining its gardens. What started out as Lowell's hope to bring the domes back to Earth to restore nature ultimately became about simply saving this one last remaining forest by any means he could. Silent Running isn't a big action-packed sci-fi extravaganza. It's a fairly simple film with an unmistakable charm and likability factor. It's actually incredible that they managed to make this film on such a small budget. It was made for just over $1.3 million. The space shots are actually pretty good. Not quite up to the level of 2001: A Space Odyssey, but an excellent effort for the time and the budget. The ship interiors were primarily filmed on a decommissioned Korean War aircraft carrier, also called the Valley Forge, and it works very well as a spaceship. As with several sci-fi films I've reviewed from this era recently, the film would be considered relatively short by today's standards. It's only about 90 minutes or so, but I think it's well worth a watch. And it's certainly easy viewing. So check this film out and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye.